Welcome everybody to the first interview session of the ROcommunity server. I am your host as always, Carbon Carnage, and I'm sitting today with the chairman of APRW, UnstableKen, along with the current world champion as well, BrutalDamon. How are you guys doing?
What's up, bitches?
What a way to start.
Okay.
Brutal Damon, hello.
UnstableKen, co-chairman of APRW, commissioner of Destiny, and very successful Roblox wrestler.
Oh, we're doing those kind of fucking introductions. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
Brutal Damon, APRW World Heavyweight Champion. Leader of the best stable in APRW, the Damon Nation. The face and the forefront, the centerpiece of Destiny. What's up?
Damon's already trying to
Straightforward.
he's trying to start controversy like barely 5 minutes in this thing.
I'm telling you, hey, we're shooting this. Alright? No limitations.
Alright, so pretty much, before we get into, the major topics, the spicy stuff, as Ken was referring to earlier, how about, like, a little originality story from the both of you?
What do you mean?
Like, how'd you start? How'd you get to the position you are right now?
2016, right? I didn't have a fucking laptop, and all I used to do was play on my phone, right? And I met Damon in 2016 and a few other guys. Right, but I started before that when I actually did have a PC in 2014. But let's talk about 2016. I didn't have a computer, and I was very passionate about pro wrestling, right? But I couldn't really do anything because I didn't have a computer. I was just that guy who would support my friends on my phone. I would just follow them on my phones and stay in calls with them. And once 2017 came around, I got a new laptop. It wasn't the best laptop. It was pretty bad. It was one of my most laggiest laptops I've ever had. And I decided to bring back APRW. And I met kids, and he helped me with my federation. My federation grew. A lot of people came to it. Then eventually Miz in 2018, right, decided to help me with my federation. And ever since then, APW has been a lot better with Miz. And now, most recently, we started a brand split with both Mayhem and Destiny, and we now have an Outbreak roster, and we're continuing to build on the federation.
And right now, you would say that you're proud of how far you've come so far?
Most definitely. I never expected my federation to be doing great. I didn't think it would ever reach this position. However, it did. I'm pretty glad to see all of our hard work come to this.
I'm sure a lot of people are glad too, given that you've given a lot of people opportunities, and many people can easily say that APRW is their number one federation.
This guy had genuinely, sorry to cut in, but for real, you had that ass humble beginning. Because I remember for a whole year, you weren't even allowed to get on your laptop or computer because you didn't have. And I met you in a Skype call too, whenever we were in the Savage Squad together. I don't know if you remember, but
I do.
Yeah, that's where I met you. So you had really humble ass beginning, and actually a lot of people met you from Skype chats like that and calls. So whenever you came back, you had some, I don't know, powerful friends, I guess. Like you had me and Eddie, and you had some other role wrestlers who were big dogs. So whenever you brought back KPRW, you had a lot of people supporting you.
So essentially,
in 2017.
what he was doing, he was establishing connections and pretty much relationships with people who can pretty much help him progress. Is that the path you were trying to go with, Ken?
Well, it wasn't an idea, to be honest. It wasn't my plan. I just friends with back my federation, and they decided to help me because I personally didn't like how things were ran in pro wrestling back then. I felt like it was unfair to a lot of people back then with how opportunities were given out, and these guys agreed with me, and they decided to help me with my federation. They would be influencers, and they would talk good about my federation because we wanted to change pro wrestling for the better.
And so pretty
And
much,
I'll just say that, I told them about my idea and they began supporting me. So it wasn't anything planned. It just happened.
Oh, okay. So pretty much what you're trying to say here is that you did not like what you saw in Raw Wrestling, or at least like you felt like it could have been improved.
He cut out for you?
Sorry?
Oh,
Wait, what?
you're cutting out for me, Carbon.
Am I still cutting out?
Me too.
Yeah.
You're fine now.
Okay, so what I was saying was is that so pretty much what you didn't like the landscape of Raw Wrestling before you started running APRW, and after you decided to start off your own federation and go with your own path, you wanted to improve on things that you believed people weren't looking at, or like it could have been easily worked on.
There were a lot of backstage politicking behind closed doors that I found, ridiculous, because it would happen all the time in these feds. And I didn't really like that, because I felt like fed owners relied more on status instead of actually, booking people who were actually good in the ring. It's a change in Raw Wrestling.
So in terms of friends, that's what you're trying to say. Like they'd book the people who are the closest to them, or who pretty much generated the most, attendance.
Pretty much.
I can give you a few examples if you want,
You,
because I just don't give a fuck. Okay.
go ahead.
I'm allowed to talk about whatever I want, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's talk about TNX, for example, because this is probably the best example I can think of. So Sonic X-Man, the owner of TNX, if you guys don't, back in 2016, 2015, 2017, whenever he actively ran TNX, he was given opportunities to the people in his group chat, like Hub Helms, Joey Wake, who else? Well, Anti-Nexus people too, because he was kind of sort of close with them too. PG, Brock, the old guys, people like that. And honestly, I don't want to just put all the blame on TNX, because there was a lot of federations that did that. ORW has also been a really, really big problem.
It's interesting.
That.
It's interesting to hear it from your side, because you've been world champion in pretty much both federations.
Yeah, literally, I'm pretty sure I have the most world titles in ORW, and I can even admit this guy SDR has a lot of issues. If you want to get into all of them, sure, but I'm pretty sure most people already know. Rigging, of course, being the main issue.
Yeah, I think it's common knowledge more than anything now. What people would probably want to hear is, how BrutalDamon got to where he is now. Obviously a shit ton of Raw Wrestling, a shit ton of matches, a lot of opportunities, but how did you get started?
Here's what right? Because whenever you see guys like me, Eddie, CJ, Sean, Don, the big dogs getting so many opportunities for big titles, people start to say, hey, you're overrated or you're overpushed. And I can kind of agree with them in a way, because I feel like I have been overpushed as well. And so has Eddie, so have all these other big high carders. But we've earned our status in Raw Wrestling. You can't take that away from us. As overpushed as we may have been at one point, and I can admit, even in some feds right now, whenever I go to low card feds or mid card feds, indies, I get recognized, and people just try to offer me title shots. Which I used to take them back in the day, but I don't really take them anymore, because I don't want to win the title and then be forced to be active.
Yeah. So what you're trying to say here is that because the common knowledge between a lot of people that aren't getting as much opportunities as you are is that they have this idea that you approach the fed owners, especially in the mid-lower ranks, and you tell them, hey, I wanna go for the world title, but they just approach you because you decided to just step in the arena. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I'm not talking about mid cards only. I'm talking about hard cards as well, like APRW, ECW, the big federation. But here's the thing, though. Like, I don't just go up to them and say, "Yo, put me in a world title shot or world title match. Give me an M1C." Like, I don't do that. I just get given the opportunities, and I mean, I don't take it all the time. But if someone comes up to you and they say, "Hey, you want an ECW world title match?" You're just gonna put down the offer and not take it.
No, anyone in your position would probably say no, unless they don't want to, not please other people, or just like their public image would be,
Yeah,
shattered.
but yeah, and I don't know. I just don't like it whenever guys call me or other high carders overpushed, because you can't be a high carder without like earning your position. It's really hard to be called a top dog if you haven't earned.
And to add on to that, also, you cannot be a high card unless there's a little bit of controversy whenever your name is being brought up.
Yeah, that too. Like whenever you're called overpush and overrated, you're doing good in real wrestling.
That's gonna be the new moniker for everybody now. Hey guys, if you're being called overpushed, that means you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. But where I started, I'm lucky. I'm one of the few lucky people to say that I started in a really big federation. But RCW was the federation where I first like wrestled, properly wrestled, and that's pretty big. That's pretty lucky too. Like, not many people can say they started off in one of the biggest federations, if not the biggest federation of all time.
Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Like in terms of originality as well, you had the opportunity to take part of feds that were on the way to become high card feds, and you so happened to be the world champion at the time. So that's how you mainly got the recognition, pretty much. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I also went to like, the high card feds at the time, ORW, TNX, RWU, but I think I'm mainly known for the things I did at CW.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with that federation. Me and many other people, Eddie Slayer, Brooksy, Noah Jackson, Hungry Sniperfish, kids, we all grew up with RCW, and we made a name for ourselves in the federation for the time that we were in it.
So yeah, like pretty much to like a segue to like the next question. Did you say that you managed to like secure world titles for each of these federations, and you so happen to be the current world champion in APRW. So start asking both of you, like Ken and Damon, like what do you think the landscape of APRW is currently, given the new stars, the new faces, the current stars, the matches, and overall the show structure? Ken can start.
Okay, so in my opinion, I feel like this is the hardest the competition has ever been for APW as a whole. With Mayhem having their top guys, and CM Punk just returning in the summer, and Havoc, and there's like a mixture of the new guys who have taken over, like Sean and Don on Mayhem, and over here on Destiny we have guys who broke out last year like the Zaro and Sub, while still having our top elite guys like Damon, our Damons, and etc. I feel like this is the hardest the competition has ever been. And as for pay-per-views, I can't think of a bad pay-per-view we've had in 2019. I don't think I could ever say in 2019 we hosted a terrible pay-per-view, because everything went well for us, and whether there was controversy or not, we made it work. Because most federals don't realize whenever there's something controversial going down, you can turn that into something that can work, like a storyline or something.
Yeah.
Good content, in my opinion.
So like,
federals should realize that.
So in terms of like new stars as well in APRW, who like can you give me like a couple of names of people that have started from the bottom in APRW and are having like what people may consider a really good run?
Okay, I'll use Don as an example, right? Because on the road to APW Mania 3 in like 2018, right? I've told him this before. I thought this guy was an alt account, okay? because he just popped up to the show out of nowhere. I've never seen this guy before, and his name is Don Morrison, and he looks generic. He didn't really look generic, however, he looked weird to me. I'm like, this guy must be an alt, right? And he would just wait like hours to get booked, right? And it wasn't me, wanting to book him late because I disliked him. However, I just wanted to see if he was an alt, so I was testing his patience. And it happened that this guy was actually a pretty good ass Raw wrestler, right? And he wasn't an alt. And then he eventually made the most of his opportunities. He won the Immortal Championship at Redemption in 2018. He lost it to Psycho Socio at Backlash. Then he instantly won the World Heavyweight N1C. He held the World Heavyweight Championship. He had a very dominant reign. And at a point, he held both the RWA and APW World Heavyweight Championship. And he's had success at almost every federation he's attended ever since. He's one of those guys that I can say he's worked from the bottom and made the most of his opportunities. And there are a lot of guys like that too.
So what about for example, other guys that maybe have not reached the world title scene yet, but they're doing good in the mid-card scene as well in APRW?
Alright, okay. From each brand, actually. Yeah, I'll give you 3 names from each brand. Destiny, since I run that brand, won the world title. I think it'd be interesting to see these guys hold the belt.
Wait, who? I'm sorry, your voice cut.
I haven't said their name yet.
Oh, okay.
Giordano Brawl, okay? That guy's pretty talented. He's pretty talented. However, he just never seems to finish it. Like, in his match with Damon, the match was 4-4. Everyone was rooting for Giordano, and Damon just beats him, and everyone was fucking heartstruck. Everyone felt the emotion because they wanted this guy to win. I've started trying to help develop and build a stable around him, and I feel like he has the ability to become a world champion. However, I think he just needs to be able to finish the job first.
Ooh.
Because he's always usually one fall away from winning it, and it's not it's not me dissing on him because I know he's pretty good. I've had matches with him, close matches with him before.
Okay.
I just think he would be an interesting guy to have as a world heavyweight champion.
I think he was because he's been known for a very long time to be the guy that always holds the United States title in particular. So holding a world title would be a change of pace for him as well.
Yeah.
He brought meaning to the US belt.
Can I cut you off for a second?
Yeah, sure.
I also feel like something that really holds him down is his lag. Like, everyone knows, this guy's a laggy motherfucker. Like, whenever he comes in the ring, you see him fucking biking. And if he has a loud-ass, big-ass pop, he has a really big chance of losing connection because it's either his Wi-Fi or his computer. But, yeah, he's really laggy. Even when you fight him in the ring, you can see. And that kind of works for him sometimes. Because not gonna lie, in my match with him, he kind of primed the fuck out of me, like throughout the match. But I think the lag mainly is what's holding him down right now, and also the United States thing. Like, that was good for him. It brought meaning to the title, yeah. But I think he's reached a point in his career where he has to stop calling himself the United States belt collector and try to be the world heavyweight belt collector. That sounds like proper advice to Giordano as well, especially coming from you when you've pretty much held a lot of world titles. Ken, you can continue if you'd like.
Okay, another guy I had on my list. I think Adapted would actually be an interesting world champion, not just in ring ability, but character sakes as well.
Wait, sorry to cut you off. When you say adapted, you mean adapted snakebite?
Yeah, adapted snakebite.
Okay.
This grip last minute, right? He'll deliver. I'll give Clutch a credit for this, right? He was like, yo, Adapted's trying to make his return to pro wrestling, and he wanted to go to APRW, right? And he's trying to test out this new gimmick. Can you give him an opportunity to do well with this? I'm like, all right, I'll give him the platform to perform this gimmick as long as he's able to show up, right? That's all I really wanted. I just wanted him to be active and show up, right? And I'll see how good he is in the ring throughout these feuds. The first feud, we had him feud with Iwan Rush. he delivered in most of his segments, both him and Ewan. Ewan's a very charismatic person to have in segments, and adapted. He's just delivering perfectly well. And these segments, some of these segments are last minute, right? I'm giving these guys the script last minute. And he's delivering. He's performing his gimmick well. I'm like, wow, this is really fucking good. And once it was time for the match, no offense to Ewan, however, adapted, dominated that entire match. Then next pay per view, 4th anniversary. I'm like, okay, man. I'll see how good you are. I'm going to boost you up the card. So we have him feud with Austin Dane, right?
Okay.
It was one of those feuds that went under the radar in a way. We were able to plant many seeds until for these spots we were going to have at the pay-per-view. And come to pay-per-view, adapted. He slaughtered him in the first round. It was a clean round. Then the next round, it was a fucking TD match, right? Austin wins this. But before the TD match, right? The TD part, we had this spot in the segment. I don't know if I'm able to present it. Would you be able to present this on the screen or not?
No, I don't think you can. You may as well just describe it.
Okay, so on Destiny, right? The final Destiny before the pay-per-view, we had adapted, right? He captured one of Austin Dane's stablemate, right? And the pay-per-view, when it came time for pay-per-view, adapted, we had Austin Chase adapted, right? And as Austin Dane was opening this room, he found the mannequin of that stablemate that was captured. And it was just one of the sickest moments we had. The pay-per-view was like a fucking holy shit moment. And if anyone's in the chat wants to watch, you can click on that link right there at that exact time. It would be interesting to have adapted as a world champion. He delivers well. And lastly, this guy, I feel like this guy it's like we've been waiting to see this guy hold the World Heavyweight Championship belt in APW, and this guy is Justice. I don't know how you'll feel about this name, because at the moment he's in Damon Nation. However, I would love to see Justice hold the world belt. He's been so passionate about this. He's very active to the company. He's been here since 2017, and he's drastically improved since then. And I think if there's any time for him to win the World Heavyweight Championship, it is right now in 2020.
What do you think, Damon, given that Justice is your partner?
Here's a mistake people make about me and Justice, right? They say that I'm the one that holds him down and keeps him in the mid-card division, keeps him in the minor title division, but I mean, that's on him. Like, it's not like I'm telling him, hey, you can't go for the world title, go for IC, go for Immortal, like, go for tag team. I don't tell him that, no. It's just, he wants to go for those titles, and I think the IC title reign he had, although it wasn't the longest reign, it was pretty impactful. Like, yeah, he had multiple special entrances with it. He had segments with the title, he had feuds, he had matches, he retained the title a few times as well. And he was just a good face for the IC division. The title really needed Justice. I mean, we've had a lot of good champions before too, like Faded Soul. He was pretty alright. BBLA was a really good champion. Raheem De Niro, Jameis, the current champion right now. I think even though he only won it like a few weeks ago, he's also been doing good with the title.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, he's good at presenting it. Even, I mean, little things that count. Like, his profile picture right now on Twitter is him with the title. And although it's minor, I mean, it's still good at presenting himself as the minor champion.
Yeah, and plus, like, the mentality that people have as well, where pretty much if you don't get the world title, you're not, relevant enough, or you're not just, sufficient enough to, really present yourself in the federation. But I guess making, like you said earlier, pretty much making the most out of any opportunity that you make is only gonna get you, to the next level, to the next step.
Yeah, like, same for Justice. Look at him right now. He has a world title opportunity for whenever he wants to use it. Whether it's my title or Sean's title, World Heavyweight APR WC, he has a world title shot, guaranteed. And I know we're talking about APRW, but I don't know if you've went to ECW or not, but the ECW title match for the next pay-per-view is Eddie versus Justin.
Ooh, yeah.
Big match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
And-
that's a really good transition, by the way, because I did want us to like go into talking about other feds as well, such as ECW. So yeah, just continue what you're doing, Damon.
All right.
I'll give
Are you
my
sure?
opinion on ECW, because since I'm very dedicated to that federation. It's one of my favorite federations to attend. I'll tell you this much: as much as people shit on CJ, he's willing to welcome anyone with open arms to his federation, and he's willing to get you a storyline, even if it's minor. It doesn't really matter. He's willing to get you in the door and start you off in ECW. With me, right? I started in ECW in 2017. I won the world title there, and it was like the more underrated feuds. However, I wouldn't consider them feuds. It was just back and forth matches and shit. And we would have promos back time to time. 2018 ECW improved drastically. If you compare 2017 ECW to 2018, you would notice the major improvements. He was able to surround himself around a dev team that brought really authentic arenas. His graphics improved majorly, and he started getting a lot more people. I remember at a point in 2018, there was a high demand to get ECW into RWA. People would chant it at shows. They would chant it at RCW. They would chant it at these RWA events. They would chant it. They would make tweets on Twitter. They would do all of that because the demand for ECW I can't even describe it. It was just so high, man. His federation was doing great. Then 2019, in my opinion, he made a big improvement from 2018 to 2019. His federation got bigger. 2019, he was able to successfully host a 100-person server.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to draw in, I believe, 80 people to both Starrcade, which is his Mania equivalent, and his SummerSlam pay-per-views, and he is packing 65 people a show. That's very hard. As a federal myself, packing 65 person servers is very difficult. And if you think about this, right, back then, dude, federations didn't even have 65 people servers, right? So CJ being able to do that is fucking historic, man.
And well, that's a really good point about ECW, and I guess a lot of people could agree with you that it has indeed improved through the years, but as well, there's also, it's a subject of controversy to many people, including recently with Damon as well. So Damon, you want to elaborate on it?
Me too. Podcast.
What?
Is anything allowed in this podcast? Like, am I allowed to actually shoot on ECW?
Nah, I think you just like give an overview more than anything.
Okay.
Hey, before you begin, man, if you're gonna criticize, you better give a solution.
Okay. I'll give credit where credit is due. This guy, like Ken said, back in 2016, 2017, like back in the day in ECW, the Federation wasn't really known, and it wasn't as, of course, not as near as big as it is now. Like, this guy had a free modeled arena, the RW Mania arena that everybody had at the time, and he had like fucking 5-10 people going to his Federation. Like, he had really, really low attendance every single show, and it's a really big improvement to where he is now, getting 65 people, 60 people, like at pay-per-views, getting 100 out of 100 server. Like, that is huge. I can only think of 3 federations that have had 100 people servers and actually filled 4 federations that actually filled it up.
Mm-hmm.
RWU, RCW, ECW, and has APRW done it before too?
Yeah, summer blocks.
Yeah. Okay, I know APRW did it. Those are the only 4 feds that I can really think of that filled up the 100-person servers, and those 4 feds respectively are some of the greatest of all time. But there's a downside as well. And it's something that I've been speaking on with him and very publicly as well for months. ECW, it's one of the laggiest places to compete in. I don't know if you've been there before, but there's been many people who gave their opinion about the arenas, and I even give it myself. But like Ken said, have a solution. Okay, I do have a solution. I think you should get better arenas. Zane, if you're listening to this, that's the solution. Just get better and it's not that hard. Like, I don't know who your arena maker is right now, who makes you shit, who your developers are. Tell them to remove some parts. Like, don't make it look as good as you want it to be. Like, I know, listen, I get that you want to have a good stage and you want to have beautiful arenas, but me personally, I would rather have an arena where people can actually wrestle in, clean, and not have a beautiful ass arena, gorgeous, and have people getting like 20 FPS. So I think that's one thing that ECW can improve on. Another thing is he gives opportunities to the same people over and over. And I've been a victim of this myself. I've been guilty. He's given me opportunities even though I lost world title in one series. He just gives me more. And before I wanted to take it, but now I don't really want it anymore. Because like I don't feel deserving enough of the world title opportunities. And before I left the Fed, he was like, you want to be an ECW N1C? After the month prior, I was in like 2 or 3 N1Cs already for a world title. No, I didn't want that because that's taking opportunity away from people that actually deserved it. And it's giving me more, even though I didn't really earn the spot to be in. Like, I mean, as big of a name as I am, I still don't like to be in a position that I don't really feel like I deserve to be in.
Yeah, but like to
You know
play,
what I mean?
yeah, but like to play devil's advocate here, I can look at it from Zane's side. Maybe he wants you to have another opportunity at it because you've already been in that position, and when you were in that position, the Fed was getting high numbers. What do you say to that?
I mean, I can kind of understand that, and I think Ken also told me this before. But back in 2018, whenever I won the ECW title, or like, I think it was the first time I won that title specifically. No, it was like third. I don't know. But anyways, Faded was champion before me, and he had a decent run. But before like Faded won the title, or before I won the title, it wasn't really as prestigious. Like, the champions, the people who hold the ECW title back in 2018, before I won it, you can see that they weren't really as good. But after I won the title, look at the champions that came after. I lost the title to Aiden Killer. Okay? Eddie Slayer won the title after. Don Morrison won the title. Cesaro, Noah Jackson, Ken, Sean, like all these top level names that went for the ECW title because it was actually prestigious after I won it. But again, I still don't think he should have given me the opportunity because, yeah, I made the title prestigious, but there's other people out there as well that can probably do as good, maybe as good, if not better than me, if they were given the opportunity.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of future stars that needed the chance. So that's why I didn't take it, and I just ultimately walked out on the Fed because of a lot of frustration with Zane.
So I guess like what you can come out of this is that Zane's intentions are good, and obviously he's a very motivated Fed owner. He looks to improve, but like the two things you mentioned that he probably needs to like look out for. I remember I had a previous interview with Raheem where I kind of just pointed out the issues similarly to you, but Zane said that I should probably like mention solutions as well next time. So the solutions that pretty much that's coming from Damon, who was a world champion at Zane's Fed, is better arenas in terms of like pro wrestlers being able to fight comfortably there. Sometimes it's not about the quality, it's just about the quantity. And when it comes to quantity, it's about like the ping of the people. and as well as like giving different opportunities. I think we're starting to see that more, and Ken has shown me like multiple examples of people getting opportunities for tournaments and stuff. But I guess like he needs to do it in such a way where it digests better with the crowd, where people can, where you build a guy and you make people, you know, like the guy that's like going for the world title. That's what like Ken and I talked about previously.
Right. Yeah. Correct. Have you seen his ECW World Heavyweight match for next pay-per-view?
I have not.
I'll give him credit on that one though. He's actually been building up sanity before you put him in the position.
Building up who? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't hear that.
He's been building up sanity before putting him in the position to fight for the world title.
Okay.
So I guess he's been improving on it.
So yeah, like
I think it was a mistake making it a 20-minute Iron Man match, because no offense to Sanity, but I don't think he's gonna survive for 20 whole minutes against Isaac.
and plus like 20 minutes is just too long for anyone to watch a match.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in a 20-minute Iron Man. I've had a lot of Iron Man matches throughout my career, but they've all been like 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
I've been into
Not 20 whole
yeah,
minutes.
and I've been in like in a 10-minute Iron Man match as well, and it felt like an hour just because of how long it took.
5 extra minutes wouldn't hurt, in my opinion.
Yo, Ken trying to stir up the pot over.
I mean, 20 minutes isn't as bad, man. I've sat at TNX shows an hour before the actual show started doing nothing.
Yeah,
So I could deal with 20 minutes.
fair enough. But yeah, so pretty much that's, you know, the talk about APRW, the landscape of APRW, and as well as other feds and like such as ECW. So yeah, let's get to the part where everybody, you know, wants to hear the proper opinion. Let's talk about the controversy. You know, some
Alright, what do you got?
some controversial
Yeah.
topics.
Ooh.
You know, the first part is obviously, you know, the elephant in the room, the woman, quote unquote.
Women's division.
Yep.
Okay, there are many parts of the women's division that we can talk about, right? Like their division, there are segments, the matches, the controversial things that happen outside during, like the catfishing or the beef, and what goes on between them and the men's division. So, because I'm a Fed owner, right, and I've seen this, and I've like seen a lot of complaints about this. In my opinion, this is how I feel about it, alright?
Yeah.
Whenever I see a guy talk to me saying, "Yo, can I be in the women's division?" There are already males in the women's division, so why can't I? And I'm like, there's a lot of reasons why I can tell you why you shouldn't be in the women's division. These women are actually past division. That person probably wouldn't. They'd probably go in there and troll. So that's reason number one. But the women, you know, some of them, not all of them, but they've kind of buried themselves in a hole where their reputation's fucked for a bit. Most of the big names and influencers in the women's division have been caught or exposed for catfishing, which is pretty sad in my opinion. And it hurt the rep of the division. And to add on, dude, some of the beef isn't necessary. Cause I find some of this shit really stupid, but you know,
So
that's with a lot of people.
Adrian Black brought up an interesting point here. Since like obviously no one's sure anymore if someone's gonna be catfishing or not catfishing, I feel that, you know, the skills of a pro wrestler, regardless of what your gender is, it's gonna be the same anyway, because you're just clicking a mouse. There's no really athletic background that you know that you have if you're a male or you're a female.
I mean, sure, but like, some of the women, they prefer working with other women, you know? Because from what I've seen, whenever the males work with the women, it never goes right. One of the sides become very unprofessional and they turn this shit into a joke. But whenever I see a male working with another male, right, they take that shit a lot more seriously, and vice versa with a woman working with another woman.
So you wouldn't really welcome intergender competition if.
No, I'm not against intergender competition, by the way. I'm not saying I am. However, I see why the woman wouldn't want to do intergender. Yeah, that's how I see why they wouldn't want to do intergender. If you want to go, Damon, you can go.
Yeah. I'm not a fed owner, so I don't have boundaries or limitations. Cause I know, you're not about some of the issues in the women's division because you're a fed owner and you have
No,
a pretty big responsibility.
Oh no, some of these issues should be pointed out, but there's issues in every division you go to.
Yeah, like I guess I get where some of the women are coming from, because the men's division does always shit on the women's division. But here's the thing, like most people who do it, they do it with a reason. They're not just shitting on the women because they want to shit on women. That's sexism. But they're shitting on them because, again, it's the people who catfish. And I have no. If you want to be a man and you want to be in the women's division, go right ahead. Like, dress up like a woman, do what you want. I don't care. It's just the catfish that it's a really big issue, not division. And again, like Ken said, it's in both divisions. Like, even men are catfishing as well. But you rarely ever see a man in the men's division who's actually a woman in real life. Like, that doesn't really happen. But you do see that in the women's division. And it's not everybody. Like, there's good people in the women's division who are actually women, who don't lie and don't catfish.
Other day, right? I was running my practice rumble, right? And the women were teaming, right? In the rumble, right? Expected. I don't know why anyone was really surprised, but the crowd started spamming unfair, right? And I guess the women took it the wrong way, right? Because they were teaming. And I'm like, they're not spamming unfair because you girls are in the women's division. They're spamming unfair because you're teaming, right? And it's not illegal by any chance. But like, if anyone was to team in the rumble, unfair. I hate how people use that card. Just because they're in the women's division, they're against us. You know, you should actually listen to why they complain. It's not just because you're in the women's division. There are actual issues. And Ava Brent tried to come at me on Twitter, right? She was trying to say, oh, you don't treat us right, something along the lines, right? And I'm like, I don't know what you're really fighting for. Are you fighting for equality or are you fighting for women's justice? Because in my opinion, 2018 was the most spotlight. Same with 2019. It was the most spotlight the woman has ever received. Because I remember back then they didn't really get posters. They didn't really get their own segments. They were barely making them. But now, you know, it's often to see women. It's often to see the women get their own posters. It's often to see them get their own women's title with actual story and meaning to it.
Yeah.
Hated how they tried to publicly shame me at my own event, right? Because I left them with admin, yeah. Because it was just a practice test. And I didn't really give a fuck, right? So I left tons of people with admin, and they started notifying people saying, "Oh, Ken, you're not doing shit about the transphobic or homophobic comments." I'm like, you can't really do shit about it, man. That shit happens everywhere you go on the internet, even in real life. You just can't do shit about it.
So, like, what do you think is the proper solution to this then? In that case, given that like there's so many issues that cover it, like what could be a sustainable way? You know, we can accept the fact that this has already happened and we can move on forward with it, or
all right,
we build a division.
It's okay. It's a really shitty thing for people to get called out for shit when some of them don't even deserve it, right?
Yeah.
But just because they're in the women's division, that's a bit unfair. But like, I want some of the people that do this shit, that you know, attack certain people for what they believe in and shit. I feel like they should be a very more open-minded, man.
But like, once again, you're asking a community full of people who are, you know, most of them are not mature enough to, you know, be open-minded. So their first instinct.
Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of trolls here, man. So it's not. I draw a line, you know. I'm not letting someone get bullied at my show. I draw a line. However, if it's happening outside my server, if it's happening outside of my show, you should probably block them or handle that issue yourself, man. I'm not trying to be tracked down and get contact saying, yo, this person is against transgenders. Like, I'm sorry, but like, there are a lot of people like that, and you just can't stop them from believing like or rooting against it.
You're pretty much saying just approach the situation how you'd probably approach it in real life.
I mean, I guess so.
Yeah. So pretty much,
I can't really guarantee that I'll bring a stock to it. However, I could less.
I think it's there's a couple of people that are already in the women's division who have gained a lot of respect, like people like Sandra, for example. People like Sarah Quisha, for example, as well. Like, these are all, women a lot of people respect for their dedication and hard work, and just not really associating themselves with the beef. I get, like, from my perspective, and I think a lot of people as well would agree with me on this, is that if they just, like, do what they originally came to do, which is to wrestle and compete, and, work hard and persevere, people are going to appreciate that and respect that. But once they get involved into,
and to be fair, they do get shit on regardless. Like, some of the people I know, right, in the women's division actually just try to row wrestle, right? Then, like, you'll just see a random troll and their group come and attack them for no reason.
I mean, yeah, like, I'm talking about, like, the people who are not trolls. There's a lot of trolls, obviously, in the community, and there's a lot of people who just make it their mission to make other people feel not so good about themselves. But I'm talking about, like, those who row wrestle and compete, and yet they still get involved into petty arguments on Twitter. That's the point I'm trying to get to, pretty much.
Oh, I like to tell people to pick and choose their battles. Some are worth it and some aren't.
Yeah, so just, like, pretty much wisen up online.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can I say something real quick before we end this topic?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Ava, you're a fucking clown. No offense. Like, I like Ava as a person. She's pretty cool. But why the fuck is she going on Twitter, like, trying to, make it such a big argument about the women teaming in a fucking practice rumble? Like, well, again, the main issue that the women had was that people were calling teaming unfair. But, like, that's what happens all the time in Rumble. Like, for example, ClickBrand. The people in ClickBrand, most of them are men, if not all of them. But they team in Rumbles as well, and people think that's unfair. I also think teaming in Rumbles is unfair, but, it's bound to happen.
You can't stop
It's
it.
not...
Like, I'll tell you what, cause, like, as well. Yeah, cause, like, remember one time where UKW decided to, like, they had a Destiny pay-per-view. I think it was called Destiny in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. Oh no, Destiny in Dubai, and I think Tams had a no teaming rule. That didn't work out well because pretty much it was a 1v1. You fight the guy's out, and then you wait for the next guy to come in. That's pretty boring. So I think teaming is, it should be allowed. It's not always fair, but if you're smart enough, you can get your way around things.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think Ava should have went on Twitter and went at Ken and all of APRW because of one practice rumble, which wasn't even his fault. Like, I heard from multiple people that she went up to them on Discord. She went up to people in the women's division and tried to make them leave APRW because of... Like, what the fuck? Why is she trying to start a movement, which it failed horribly? She couldn't start shit, like...
Yeah.
No one's really talking about it right now. The only reason we're talking about it in this call is because of the podcast.
Yeah.
But she failed, and I don't think she should have even, like, started trying to have a movement and leaving APRW because of a practice.
We see this mentality not just, like, with Ava, but a lot of people as well. When they're upset about something or they just generally want to, step out the system or, like, do something different. The first thing they do is go to Twitter, and it's not as effective because already a lot of things are happening at once on Twitter. Is there, like, probably, like, once again, like, we mentioned the problems, but, like, we should probably as well, like, bring up solutions. So what advice would you give to people who would do something similar to, like, what Ava already did?
Yeah. Whenever they lose a match, they're quick to complain. They're quick to make excuses, man. That's one of the reasons why I call people soft about it. Because losing is a part of the game, man. You're bound to lose. So what's the point of making excuses, man? That makes you seem like a sore loser, in my opinion. I've lost countless matches. I can be very pissed about them, but like I'm not going to make any excuses when I've lost my matches fairly.
Yeah, for sure. And even then, like, so what solution would you have for people who would, their first instinct when they're upset about something, they just head onto Twitter? Like, what would you advise them to do? That'll probably work out better.
If they were to lose the match,
Lose a match, upset about something, they just want to, like, complain. Like, what do you think should be
I
done?
feel like it depends on the.
Sorry, but here's what I think, right? At the end of the day, this is a game,
Yeah.
okay? And that's something that people need to realize. This is a game. It's Roblox. Like, I'm one of those people who has taken it seriously before, but like now, whenever I lose a big title match or just a big match in general, I don't. Yeah, I guess I get bummed out, but I don't really get, frustrated or mad to the point where I go on Twitter. I think you should just have fun with it in whatever way. Like, you don't have to go for titles necessarily to have fun on the site, but just have fun and don't take it that seriously.
What about you, Ken? What advice would you have?
I mean, if you're sick of losing, dude, first opinion is, or my first answer to you being sick of losing, get better, obviously.
Just get good.
Yeah, just get better, man. People might find that disrespectful, but like, shit, that's how you gotta win, man. You just gotta find out what you're doing wrong. If you're just clicking your mouse, right, you're just like holding your W key, and you're getting frustrated on why you're losing. Maybe you should try doing something else, man. Try doing some other shit that'll probably work in your favor. When I was training, right? Like most recently, I've been trying out new shit, right? To try and implement in matches. Sometimes it works, sometimes it hasn't. And in my opinion, having the ability is important. Yes, it is one of the most important aspects you need to get where you need to be as a roaster. However, I feel like being able to cut good promos, deliver well in segments will get you far, in my opinion. Because I've worked with guys like, I don't hope they aren't taking this the wrong way, but I've worked with guys who can deliver promos. However, they haven't been to that top dog status, right? And Adrian is in the call. I've worked with him in segments before, and he's delivered very well in these segments.
Yeah.
And there are more guys like that, and it's good to have them because whenever you need a guy to go out there and deliver well in a promo, you can just depend on that guy. I worked with Zane Marks. He could do that shit.
I think the people like who are really good on promos, they also have this personality about them that once they lose, they don't really blame themselves for not doing good. Like some of them do, but some of them just think, oh man, the cards are stacked against me. This is impossible. Like sometimes it's like such hard problems or such confusing problems that are presented in front of you. They just have really easy solutions, and I guess the solution here is just either pretty much get better, like as you said.
My man Carb is just dying on us right now.
I'm just saying, yeah. I'm moving forward with your advice.
Carbon, we're on a clock. Carbon, let's move on.
Yeah. All right, so this is the part where we engage the people who have been, patiently watching us. So I'm gonna tag you guys and just pretty much let you guys ask your questions. So, yeah.
I know Lilo had a few questions.
All right. I'll try picking up the best ones.
You think a high card can still be a high carder without being in the world title scene? I mean, yes and no. I mean, I've seen guys with the ability to do well with minor titles. To be honest, like in ECW, both Sub and I were minor champions in ECW, and I'd consider both of us high carders with the ability. And
of course, you consider yourself a high carder, well. Ken.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm the best for wrestler 2019. There we go.
Ooh.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up. Don't bring that to the fucking podcast.
But in all seriousness, man, yeah.
So retarded.
It's over.
Yeah,
it's over.
I do think, as long as they've been able to solidify their position as a high carder.
They don't need a world
title. If I saw Eddie Slayer go for like maybe the US title, I'd still look at that guy as a top dog, man. I think he's just trying to elevate another belt.
Yeah.
That's the way I view it.
So,
It's the high card just trying to elevate another belt.
yeah. So so pretty much 3 different people are asking the same question here. Opinion on GMT Feds right now, as well as the state of GMT.
I like this one right here. I like that question right here.
Damon can
Do you want to
answer
answer it first, Damon?
Yeah, Damon can answer it
Yeah,
first.
I knew. Didn't we write this shit down already?
Yeah, but we didn't talk about it, so I might as well.
Yeah, I knew we forgot about something. Okay, the GMT division. I'll try to be as nice as possible. The GMT division down bad, right? Like, it is bad. And that's not really the Fed owner's fault. Like, there's people who are trying. Like, people who have GMT Feds that aren't as recognized, like Ewan. He has OEW, and Evolved RDN, he has DXW. Like, those 2 people, I think they should be getting higher attendance than they are, because, you know, they're trying to have federations, have more places for GMT wrestlers to go to, but the wrestlers just aren't going to it. Like, it's their own fault. It's not really the Fed owner's fault, because they're trying to have more places, have more federations for people to compete in, but the wrestlers just aren't going. But I'll go into CCW. Like, I personally think CCW is having their best run, like, ever, because you know, most of the time GMT federations, since the GMT division is definitely a little less, there's less people there than EST. The GMT feds can't really keep up with the EST feds, but there have been many feds, no, not many, a few feds that have been able to keep up, like UKW. In my opinion, that's one of the top 5, maybe even top 3 feds of all time. And Tams King, that he was really good for GMT, because as annoying as this prick is, as much as I don't like him, this squeaky voiced fucker, he was good for GMT. He gave people opportunity, he gave the GMT wrestlers things to do, even if it wasn't going for a title. Like, he had rivalries, he had story, and he was good for the GMT division. That's something that Boss is kind of doing as well, but the difference between Boss, the really big difference between Boss and Tams, is that Tams didn't really give ESTers as much opportunity. I think that's something that a lot of people know already, but you can say what you want about that, whether you think that was the right thing to do or not, but Boss is giving the ESTers opportunity. And look at the past champions, the past 3 world champions he's had. They've all been ESTers. Noah Jackson, Sean McAvelli, TM Punk, the current world champion, they're all ESTers. And I'm not saying that's because ESTers are better than GMTers, but there's a lot of good people in EST. And I think one of the big reasons why Tams didn't let the ESTers go for his world title is because he knew that they would win. The first opportunity I got at a world title, I won.
Yeah.
And yeah, but CCW really good, but GMT as a whole is not doing as good as it was like a year ago.
And
Okay, so this is my opinion on it, okay? People say GMT's down bad, okay? And I see why they're saying that. It's because there is not enough exposure or coverage about what's going on in GMT. You don't really see much on Twitter because most of these guys, check Twitter and they don't hear anything coming from these GMT federations. However, when you attend these GMT feds, they're not as bad as people think they are. They're not doing as terrible as people think they are. Like, I spent an entire week going to these GMT feds. ERW, they hit 27 people, which is good for GMT standard, because there are less GMT wrestlers than EST guys. And I do think ERW can get more. WRW hit 30, and their production is fucking out of the window. They have a smooth ass intro, right? A smooth ass intro. There's no delay, and it was like a moving intro. It was like one of those. Do you know the SmackDown intro? The new one.
Yeah.
Their intro is similar to that, and it's really fucking good. Really fucking good. In my opinion, I do think he should invest into doing more segments in his shows. I feel like it'd build, some characters, and he has a very exclusive GMT roster similar to ERW. Both of them could make use of, adding segments to their shows.
Yeah.
At DXW, I've been here since I've watched DXW since fucking their first year running, right? And in my opinion, hands down, their most recent Mania was their best Mania yet. Ooh. And I like their reinvention with the NXT style. Okay, it was the first time I've ever seen someone try to do it. The new NXT, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. And I liked it because it actually brought me in, and this was one of the better reinventions. And with a Mania like that, the ceiling is high for them. The glass ceiling is high for them, and I'm waiting to see DXW return. And as for Adaptive Snakebite, I haven't been able to go to his federation. However, from what I've heard, right?
You mean
right?
EWF? Is that what you're talking about?
EWF, yes.
That's
yes. Every Wednesday, everyone. Yeah. Yo. If you're a GMT wrestler, you're trying to wrestle EWF's on Wednesday. Adaptive's a very smart kid, man. He's a very smart kid. He knows what he's doing, and he's very passionate about being a Fed owner. From what I've spoken to him about, I would like to see him get more coverage on what's going on at EWF. Because the one thing that made me really want to go back to VDW or go to a UKW show was I would see shit that I've never seen in other EST feds. Because there was a point where I was RCW exclusive and ECW exclusive, right, in 2017, and I didn't attend any GMT feds. So whenever I saw the shit UKW was doing on Twitter, I'm like, wow, that's really fucking cool. And whenever Rudy would share screens for me in a call, and he'd show me the shit they're doing, I'm like, wow, they don't do this shit anywhere else. And storylines was very rare to do in pro wrestling, right? Back then. And UKW, they made the best out of it. I'm like, wow, that shit's really fucking good. Okay. Yeah, I'm very serious and passionate about it.
He was slamming the table and everything. He was slamming the table and everything.
Yeah, okay. Okay, but anyways. Anyways, then when VDW came along, what made the fucking chat is just packing me and my desk. But anyways, when VDW came along, man, it made their wrestlers feel special because they would do Twitter coverage, right? And it felt so special to be, on their Twitter. And I feel like that would attract more people because people love being rewarded for being active, loyal, and winning the matches or delivering well and certain things that you give them to do, right? So maybe,
Yeah.
So maybe this is advice to Fed owners. If you want guys to, want to come back, try rewarding them. Maybe, posting their shit on Twitter, give them the exposure they want. Build these GMT guys up. They want exposure. They want to be treated well. They want to.
And if push comes to shove, just pay them real money so they can show up to your federation.
Oh yeah. Well, while we're at here, 350. Let's go.
For real.
I had some really good shit to say about them because I've been working on them and I haven't even got to E1, but his graphics are fucking nice. His production's nice. And CCW, that's the place for the women. If you're a women's wrestler, you'd want to go to CCW for how well they treat their women.
Watch, all the men are leaving CCW as we speak.
Oh my goodness. And GMT isn't really as bad as people like to say it is, man. There just isn't any exposure to what's going on.
Here's what I don't like. I'm just gonna say this one thing and I'm done about the topic.
Yeah.
But people, they don't want to go to a federation when they haven't even tried it out. That's what I don't like, because DXW, I'll use that for an example because I'm actually active there. I know some EST wrestlers, some high carders that don't go to the Fed because of shit they've heard about DXW, and I'm just like, come to the Fed, try it out yourself. It's really not as bad as people say it is. Like, his booking's pretty good. He treats his world champions nicely as well. I'm a world champion, so I would know.
Yeah.
and he actually puts in the effort. So
So yeah.
try it out before you talk shit.
So yeah,
Be honest?
shout out to GMT, shout out to DXW, OEW, EWF, WRW, all these feds, CCW as well. All these feds have a lot of potential, and I believe they should be up there with the best of them. So yeah, we have time for. Sorry, Ken, we're gonna have to move on. This man Ken was shooting. So yeah, we have room for. We have room for two more questions. So this question was asked a bit earlier by Adrian and Noah. They're saying opinion on the new gen wrestling superstars.
What about it? What about the new gen?
So like to elaborate on what Adrian asked, goddamn. Oh yeah. So he basically said, do you think the new gen push from 2016 to 17 has lived up to its hype, or does it have a ways to go? If it does, what can they do to further push it?
I mean, in my opinion, all right. In my opinion, I don't really believe in when people say the old times were better. I don't really believe in that. I think what we got going on at the moment is better, man. We've gotten a lot of shit done, and this is the most competitive pro wrestling has been. I've seen guys push up the card within like 4 months, man, because of how fucking talented they are.
What do you think, Damon, about the 2016-17 era?
I think people are right to an extent. Like 2016 and 2017, me being one of the people who was like always up there in that era, like 2016, 2017 is what really made me a top dog. I think competition back then was really good. Like really fucking good. But I even said this on Twitter. 2019, 2020, like these years, they were also just as good, if not better. Because I don't know why, but I feel like pro wrestling as a whole, like in general, has gotten better skill-wise. Like it's much harder now to win world titles and N1Cs than back in the day. But again, like I'm not gonna take credit.
What I noticed was
2016 and 2017.
What I noticed was back then, right? I feel like you need to have a certain status to even debut at some feds, man. Back then, at least. That's what I think, right? Then RCW kind of changed it, in my opinion, because he was doing something new by giving everyone a chance. When most federations back then, they were limited. They were limiting their opportunities to certain people.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why people look back at 2016 and 2017 as like two of the best years in pro wrestling is because of RCW. Because that's really the time where RCW took the spotlight and claimed the throne as the #1 fed. I think the same is happening right now with APRW because, again, like I said, 2019 has been one of the best years in pro wrestling, in my opinion. Like, competition-wise, advertising, Twitter coverage, YouTube videos, like, people are getting it out there. They're getting the news out there. And that's something I really like.
Okay, so yeah, we have room for pretty much one more question. This is more specific to APRW, so I think Ken is the one that's going to answer this. So,
but I wanted to do this big match, right? This big event, right? And I want to call it the 6-pack challenge, where I have 6 of the best guys compete, and they compete for the competitive aspect of it for fun, And the reason why I chose to have Aiden in there, because admittedly, I wanted to create a buzz on Twitter, and I think it was a good idea for competition-wise, because the other people in the match, they're just as good as Aiden. So I wanted to have him involved, and I'm not saying he's in my federation, because I haven't announced that he's wrestling actively, and I haven't confirmed that he's wrestling actively in my federation.
But he's been allowed in other feds though. Like, is he back in ECW?
Is he back? What?
Is he back in feds like ECW?
Oh, I haven't seen him compete in ECW actually.
Oh, he's in
I've seen him
he's
like
in
just sub in
BPW.
the server.
He's in BPW. My bad.
Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with having Aiden in your Fed, man.
I think it was a
There's nothing
mutual
wrong.
it was a mutual agreement though, like a year back, that we don't want him to be there anymore because there's just a lot of scamming. You're not sure if the guys
Happening?
are.
Okay, I think I understand what he's trying to say. It was something about the Federation's coming to an agreement. I mean, to be honest, back then, scamming was really, I guess it was like a big issue back then, but then, a lot of people started doing it. It just, went out of our control. So we just stopped giving attention to it, and people just stopped caring about it. If
Yeah.
Aiden was kicked out for scamming today, then a lot of people should be kicked out for scamming today.
So yeah. So,
I feel like it's one of those things where if you're gonna punish someone for this, you gotta punish everyone else who does it.
okay. So it was great having you guys on today. I think this has went pretty successfully. I feel like I should have you guys off. Have you guys off more because.
Hold on, can I say something before we end this off?
Yeah, sure. I was gonna have you guys saying closing statements either way, but sure, go ahead.
Okay. Credits to roleplay and animation too, because I heard Adrian talking about it in the chat. Clean wrestling. I mean, you gotta admit, clean wrestling is probably the biggest form of pro wrestling out there right now. And as much as animation isn't as big, like, it's still pretty fun. I haven't personally done it, but I know people who have done animation and who still do. And the animation division is doing really well right now, and they're doing good at promoting as well. Like, I see on Twitter all the time, LXM making new moves, new championships, and just really advanced shit in animation. Animation, roleplay, both really good.
So yeah, any closing statements from you, Damon?
Catch me tonight at APRW Destiny, 5:30 on the dot.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
a little plug here and there. What about you, Ken? Any closing statements?
Oh, podcast, but I want to try it. It's actually pretty fun, man.
So yeah, thank you guys for attending today. Thank you for being interactive. I'm gonna try bringing another spicy guest for you guys to ask questions and interact with as well. Thank you, Damon and Ken, for being here today.